welcome back to the channel. And today we're just going to be talking about Acura and mainly three components with Acura. So first is going to be the refresh on the RDX. Second is going to be their new EV that's coming out. And third is going to be the ADX. And so all three of those are kind of going to be wrapped into one. You all will see that throughout this, throughout the tenure rather of this video. I got a new mic, and I guess I shouldn't say a new mic. I got a mic like for the first time ever, and so hopefully this makes the video sound a lot better. I've tested it out, and in my personal opinion, it does. So you all be sure to let me know if it does or if it does not down in the comment section below. Like always, thank you all for following the channel. Thank you for helping me grow, and let's dive right into it. So first up is the redesigned RDX for 2025, and I posted about this on my Instagram and on my TikTok, but I'm incredibly disappointed. And as an Acura loyalist, I feel like I have the right to say that, right? Like I've had about 5 Acuras so far, and I don't really plan on leaving the brand. So I guess I get to really say like how I truly feel. And the redesign was a little, or the refresh rather, I do want to be clear on that. It is a refresh. However, I felt it was a little lackluster, and here's why. The first reason is the exterior design really didn't get a lot of updates and tweaking. Yes, its front grille got some work done on it, but that was really about it. And that really wasn't a big deal to me. The exterior design has always been something that I've always enjoyed, and it's always been something that I thought looked really good. So the exterior design really wasn't where my gripes lie, right? Moving on to the second piece that kind of like annoyed me was the interior. Now, the interior is where I felt the 2025 RDX was in dire need of a refresh. It's very much so giving dated and old. And none of the interior components that I thought should have been addressed were actually addressed, or would be addressed were actually even addressed. So let's start with the digital cockpit and screen first. I was for sure that was going to find its way into the RDX because it's found its way into the TLX and the MDX. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to find its way. It's going to make its way there. That did not happen. So I was frustrated by that because what's there works, but what's there also lets you know that it dates itself, right? And it's dating itself back to 2019. And so that was very frustrating for me. The next piece of technology is this true touch pad, right? I thought it was going to be gone, not gone at all. It's still there. It's not that it's difficult to use, but it definitely takes some learning, and it also takes some getting used to, which I think buyers are a little bit over with at this point, or just over, right? They just don't really want that anymore. I think Lexus has shown us through their usage of it where they've been trying to use it, and it doesn't work. The next piece of technology is the audio system. So as many of you all know, and if you do not know, Acura is moving away from ELS, which is sad, of course, because they have been using them for about 10 plus years now. And they're going to be moving over to Bang and Olufsen, so B&O, or BO. And they've already rolled it out in the MDX for sure. And so, since this was a refresh, I was expecting that to happen on the RDX as well. Did not happen. ELS is carried over. We do get like some LED lighting that kind of lights up on the inside. Okay, that's great. It's fine and all, but I was still expecting a change, right? A switch. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. What else was I expecting? Those are really the only things because again, this is a refresh and not a redesign. So I wasn't expecting too much to happen, but I was expecting some things to take place, especially because now this brings me to my third point where the RDX currently is Acura's best-selling vehicle. It is outselling everything else in its fleet. And so, with that being said, when you really think about the bread and butter, what people are coming in off of the streets and purchasing or leasing, that is the RDX. And so, since that's the RDX, I'm anticipating that they would actually breathe a little bit more life into it take a little bit more time on the refresh to make sure that people are still coming in to purchase and lease and just get their hottest selling vehicle right now. All right, so next up is this new EV concept car that's been unveiled at Monterey Car Week, and it looks really great. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The design, beautiful. I really love it. The front is kind of giving me a little bit of Buick, but the rest of the vehicle looks really great. I'm really, really digging it. And so there are some things with that I do just kind of want to briefly talk about when it comes down to this car being a full EV. And EV sales have been down, and year to date, I want to say we've moved up from like 7% to 8%, but that's a 1% bump over the course of, 365 days, right? And so I'm not sure if this was the best move to make right now. And I also think this is probably why the RDX refresh was so overlooked, because there's so much going on at Acura that they really just didn't have the time or the resources to really pump into this RDX, especially on a refresh. And so they're like, hey, look, let's just do something that's quick. Let's just do something that's minimal, and let's get this vehicle out. I also believe that a next generation RDX is probably in the works. It's probably going through like R&D right now. And so again, they're like, hey, let's just get it out. Let's just have folks buy it real quick and let's just move on, right? Like, let's just keep the train moving. Let's just keep going. And so when it comes down to this EV, though, I think I would prefer to see this vehicle come out as a hybrid. And the reason I say that is because Honda's been doing hybrids now for a few years, and the Accord is also running on this new hybrid system, and it's working. People have been actually purchasing it. The Civic just also got this new hybrid system, and I just think that going the hybrid route is a little bit better than just going full-fledged EV, because it warms the buyer, it warms the consumer up to what is to come. So hybridization for me just feels like a natural next step from ICE. And so I would like, and I was expecting that this vehicle would not be full-fledged EV, but that it would also be, or that it would be rather, just a regular hybrid. And I think it might sell a little bit better. I could be wrong. It could sell fantastically, right? It could sell great on its own right now. I don't know. None of us know, right? However, based on the trends that I've been reading about and I've been following, I don't know if the EV route is the best route to take right now. I also say that to say, or I say that because the ZDX and the Prologue just launched. We really don't have any real strong concrete data on those actual take rates. And so for those reasons, I feel like maybe we should just put a little button on it real quick and just go hybrid. Let's see how these two vehicles do for us as a brand, as a whole, and then we can move forward from there with our own EV platforms. That would be my thought. That would be what I would voice if I had a seat at that table. I don't. I'm still going to voice it. Maybe they'll watch this video and hear it. Don't know, right? Um, so that's how I feel about this new EV. It's also very new right now, and it's also still a concept, but it is supposed to arrive to us. So we also don't even have any name for it yet. There's no name out currently for it. But again, just want to preface, I like how it looks. I think it looks really great. But instead of an EV, I would prefer some sort of hybrid option. Those are my thoughts on that. Now, let's go down to what's coming, which is something I'm really excited about, because it very well could be my next purchase, which is the Acura ADX. Although I've seen pretty much nothing about this vehicle, I'm really excited for it to come, because I've been saying for a very long time that Acura really needs a subcompact SUV, because the subcompact SUV market is booming and those vehicles are selling. And Acura has not been a player in that game because they've had nothing to offer. Yes, they did offer the CDX, and I want to say China, but they very quickly like X that. I think it only lasted for about 3 or 4 years, maybe even 3 years. I want to say three. And so we've been waiting here for some sort of subcompact offering simply because the RDX over the years has, of course, grown. The MDX has, grown also as well. And there's been nothing to really fill the space of the first generation RDX. If you think about the first gen RDX, it was small, it was nimble, it was a blast to drive. It was a really nice SUV and it sold very well, which is why it's continued year after year after year, right? And so when you think about the shopper, someone may not have children, they may be single, but they may want to sit up higher. They don't want an Integra, they don't want TLX, they don't want RDX. They want something that's just small, it's a little bit lifted, okay? And it gives them a higher driving position. They don't want to go RDX. Well, this new ADX is going to fit that bill, and I think it's going to really work for Acura. So far, the HRV has been doing very well for Honda, especially in this new generation. It's sold very well. It's still selling very well. Also, dealers can't seem to keep a lot of them on the showroom floor or on dealer lots because, again, for the money, for the value, it's a great SUV. You get a lot of space and not for a lot of money. And you also get a lot of features while also getting the awesome reliability of driving a Honda. So I think moving that to an Acura platform is just going to be better. And it's going to be a great addition to the Acura brand and family. So I'm really excited about that. And going back to the RDX, perhaps that's why this refresh hasn't been super duper extensive, right? Is simply because Acura, Honda, they are choosing to focus a lot of their energy into the ADX because that is supposed to come in 2025. And so they're like, hey, 2024 is pretty much over at this point. We got to get moving on what we've promised. And the ADX has been promised to us now for about maybe 5 months or so. And so I think that's what's really happening over at Acura. I don't think they're in a bad place. I think they're just in a place of transition and moving. And they have a lot of moving parts happening right now, a lot of things happening. But I think that once this ADX comes out, things will kind of mellow out a little bit. The RDX, I'm expecting that to have some sort of a redesign for the 2026 model year. So I'm assuming that a redesign will come out in 2025 as a 2026 model, similar to what happened in 18 for the 19 model. And so I don't think these are bad things. Again, I'm going to say I don't think these are necessarily negative things, but would have loved to see a refresh that was extensive. And I really can't wait to see this ADX and the EV concept that has that sloping roof line. I'm excited to see. I think it's going to be a fantastic vehicle. Can't wait to actually see what it looks like. And I can't wait to actually drive it too, because of course I'm going to get to a dealership. I'm going to drive it because I love all things Acura. I think Acura is one of the best brands that you could put your money into. And a lot of people have been like giving me a little pushback or flack on that. But honestly, I love Acura. I love Honda. I think they make the best things on the road. And I see myself being a longtime Acura customer. I've already been one for the past 5 vehicles. And I don't see that changing. I just do have things that I do want them to do. So I said do a lot of times, but I have things I want to see Acura implement. So I'm really hoping that they can get it together and they can implement the things that I would like them to do. So with that being said, y'all, that's what's happening over at Acura over with Lord. That's what's happening over at Acura. And that's really it. That's really it. So please like this video, comment, subscribe, share, do all of the things to help grow this channel. As always, I just want to build a community of car enthusiasts and car lovers where we can have conversations and converse about vehicles, and not only vehicles, but what's also happening in the automotive market as well too. So with that being said, y'all, peace. I'll catch you all in the next video.